Before we start the install, let's look at the Enoscope display and see what energy is being used by the air conditioning unit before ACES is installed. This video is speeded up, but over a prolonged period of time, the Enoscope display shows the unit is using a steady amount of energy just to reach the set temperature. It then switches off until the temperature rises when the unit switches back on. It's either fully off or on. Remember this display as we will return to the Enoscope after the ACES is installed and operating. Before you start the install, turn on the system. Set your room thermostat to a low temperature and then monitor the AC unit to make sure that the airflow out of the unit is well below 20 degrees. If it is greater than this, then the AC unit is likely to be faulty. Installing ACES on a unit that is not functioning properly would be inadvisable. Once you are satisfied the system is working properly, you can start the install. You do not need any special tools to complete the installation. You will need the ACES, a temperature sensor, screwdrivers, extra cable, wire cutters, connection blocks and possibly a multimeter to identify unmarked cables. An air conditioning unit is often made up of two parts, an outdoor unit and the indoor evaporation unit, and you can install ACES in either part of the system. One option is to install ACES in the outdoor unit. Typically there is a lot more space in here. However, the cable for the temperature sensor will need to run from the ACES to the indoor unit, and we advise that you don't extend the sensor cable over too long a distance. The alternative option is to install ACES in the indoor unit or near to it, but space is often restricted. But you have the advantage that the temperature sensor cable will not need to be extended. For the purpose of this demonstration, we will install ACES into the external unit. Before starting work, you must isolate the unit from the power supply. We need to locate the wiring diagram, which may be found in the unit's manual or on the unit itself. In this case, it is under the indoor unit cover. Once we have identified the correct cables to use, we now need to open the external unit to access the cabling. Now we want to identify the cable that goes from the thermostat to the compressor. Then snip the wire and connect it into the ACES, as seen here. We now need to identify the permanent live. This will power the ACES unit. So using the wiring diagram or a multimeter, we find the cable and then connect this to the ACES as shown. Finally, we need to connect the temperature sensor to the label connection on the side of the ACES. So in review, we identify the connection between the thermostat and the compressor and cut the cable and connect it to now run through the ACES. Next, after identifying which is the live power connection, connect the power. Then connect the temperature sensor to the ACES. Now we need to make sure that the end of the temperature sensor is located in the cold air stream coming out of the indoor unit. Make sure it is installed neatly, which may require inserting a gland as in this demonstration. Now return the casings and the covers, tidying and clipping cables, and make sure the whole job is neat and tidy. Reconnect the supply. The ACES will start its learning stage, flashing as you see here. Once the unit is running, the LED light will flash, with the period of off and on representing various stages. Please see the ACES documentation for the table of the various LED operation messages. So now let's return to the Enoscope display. Again, this is speeded up, but over the same period as previously. And yes, we see periods when the air conditioning unit is using around about the same amount of energy as previously. But now it is punctuated by similar periods of a lot less energy use, saving energy and money. See, ACES uses the logarithms to detect when overcapacity occurs. Then it switches off the compressor, avoiding inefficiency. The temperature in the room remains the same, as the fans will continue to operate and blow cold air into the room, making use of all the stored cool energy in the heat exchange unit. A qualified technical person will find the install of ACES straightforward, and your client will thank you for maintaining the comfort of his rooms and workspaces while considerably reducing the energy costs from his air conditioning system.